we've now run like 5 minutes from the expected start time. So basically, we are going to start, and probably my assistant will be able to admit those who are coming in. So right away, I will start with the introduction part, just to get to know each other, and also to get to know the panelists who have joined us today. We have a very superpower panelist, I'll say, a very close friends of mine, persons that I know personally. We have a personal friendship. And I will want to give them a chance to introduce themselves, just to tell us their names, where they are from, what they are doing, and the subsection they will be representing, or rather they will be discussing today. So from the appearance on my screen, I think I will start with Daniel. Probably you can just introduce yourself.
Hi guys. My name is Daniel Mutia. I study at the University of Edinburgh. I'm in my final year of undergraduate, studying electronics and electrical engineering. So I'm a MasterCard Foundation scholar here, and I'm also the Rhodes Scholar-elect for 2021. So yeah, that's a bit about me. And today I'll be talking about MasterCard Foundation Scholarship. Thank you.
Thank you, Daniel. I knew Daniel from the recent Rhodes Scholarship, and I'm super happy that he's one of the 2 individuals who got the scholarship, which we all know is very competitive. So it's a great opportunity to have him here, just to discuss and give us tips on the do's and the don'ts on scholarship application. And also, it's part of expounding our network, getting to know people from different fields and just engage with them. So the next person I will want him to introduce himself is called Nyandire Reinhard. Nyandire, you can hear me?
Yes. Hi, good evening and good afternoon. I'm Nderitu Reinhard from the University of Cambridge. I'm a Chevening scholar, and I'll be adding into the brief that Stella and the others will give. So thank you so much. I'm pursuing an MPhil in Conservation Leadership Program. Thank you.
Thank you, Nyandire. Stella?
Hi, everybody. My name is Stella Nderitu, and like Nderitu and Nashon, I'm a Chevening scholar. I don't even know where to look. Anyway, forgive me.
Yeah, I know it's a new platform. All of us are trying to learn.
Yeah, quite new. I'm doing politics and public policy at Cardiff Uni, and I will be sharing more about Chevening and hoping a good number of you will apply and get shortlisted.
Thank you very much, Stella. I hope we have Wachiye. Wachiye. I didn't see him joining, but I hope, yeah, he's there. Wachiye, take it up. Martin? And then you can feel free to put your video on. This is a very casual engagement, so feel free to put video on. So Stella, sorry, Martin. Probably I can't reach Martin when yeah, there he is. Yes, sir. Introduce yourself. Hi.
I think there's a problem with my speakers. I can't hear anything. Let me just set it up. Sorry, guys.
All right. We'll give you a chance to do that when you'll be presenting. Now, today we are having a very casual engagement, and it's going to cover 3 parts. One is scholarship on Chevening. I know most people want to know what is Chevening. I know we have a number of guys who know what is Chevening, and probably they've applied before. And yet we also have people who maybe this is a new term. So this is a very good opportunity for you to engage with scholars who have benefited from Chevening, and just to get to understand how do I apply, what are the requirements, what do I need to do. If you have applied before, maybe you made a mistake, and it's also a very good platform to ask questions. So we are going to touch on Chevening, then we'll touch on MasterCard. As Daniel has said, he's a MasterCard student studying at University of Edinburgh. And finally, we'll have a Rhodes scholarship to be presented by Wachiye, and also Daniel can add something on it because he's also a Rhodes scholar. So without further ado, I will want to hand over to our first speaker, who is a very able Queen of Catway, Stella, to take it from me and just do the first two presentations, and then we can proceed from there. Stella. Sorry, I've baptized you Queen of Catway, sorry.
Yeah, it's fine. So I'm thinking, because Nyandira is here, maybe he can also take one essay.
Yeah, I'll give him one. I'll give him one, definitely. So you can
okay.
cover.
And then we can all add, tunaweza ongeza sisi wote points, ndio?
Exactly.
Okay, sawa. Although I would have wanted to hear where other people come from, like, are they all from Kenya? And then, like, what is their profession or their areas of interest, just to know. But then, yeah, I'll start.
You can take it from there. You can run the way you will wish. You can.
Okay. So I would wish for all participants to type in the chat box their professions or the courses that they're very interested in, just for introduction and so that we can interact. And then feel free to ask any question along the way. Yeah. So and then Nashon and Nyandira can help add any points that I will maybe miss out or leave out. But Chevening is a scholarship that is facilitated by the Foreign, Commonwealth and Development Office. I hope I have said that right now that they changed. And the good thing with Chevening, just like any other scholarship, but no, it's not any other scholarship, it's a very prestigious scholarship. You can do any course you want, so long as you strategically place your application. So you need to be very aware of what they look for and how you can now align that to your application. Yeah. So I think I will just start and then you can ask any question. But maybe before I even share my screen, I'll say Chevening is a leadership scholarship. It's a leadership scholarship. So I think you need to understand that before you apply, because they want to give an opportunity for young leaders, not even only, you can be more than 35 actually. It's a scholarship for leaders, people who are doing something for their communities or even in their organizations to make change happen in any sector. It doesn't only mean particular courses, yeah? And then, so now let me share my screen, show the presentation. For Nashon, I can't see my.
Your share button.
No, I see it.
You see
I
it.
see it. Yeah, I've seen my screen.
I know it's a total new platform, so we are learning.
So once I, oh yeah, sure, okay.
Yeah, I can see it.
All right. Yeah.
Yeah.
So I will start with. Oh, what's going on?
We can see it. It's just that you are.
Yeah, I need to go to the
9.
first slide, but I can't. For some reason, my.
Or can I present? Can I put it up for you?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, from slide 1.
All right.
So I'm going to share, this presentation has both the question of the essays and then some of the tips for every category. So we'll divide that between, among myself, Nashon and Nyandira, yeah? So the first question is on leadership. So as you go through the application process, the first stage, the main work is in submitting the 4 essays, yeah? So you have to prepare very well to express your interest and how you're a leader in 500 words. So we can go to the first question.
Okay.
I think it's the next slide. Yeah. So the first question of the 4 is, Chevening is looking for individuals who will be future leaders or influencers in their home countries. Explain how you meet this requirement using clear examples of your own leadership and influencing skills to support your answer. So Nashon, could you check for me whether people have responded in their chat? Because I'm going to use that in this presentation.
Yeah.
Sorry, guys, I'm a trainer by profession, by practice. I used to train young people, so that's why I'm behaving like a teacher. But
I've seen Sally. Sally has just introduced herself. Yeah, so Sally has just introduced herself.
It means you won't share your screen. Okay, I can read now the presentation. Just don't change the screen. So I see Sally says her background is in electrical engineering. Thanks, Sally. And then, hi, I am Chris Moremi, 5th year industrial engineering student from Moi. No, Kuniwa engineers too. And then, hello, I'm Joseph from Kenya, pursuing actuarial science, and also the CEO at Discount Hub Kenya. Great. And then I also see Helen. Thanks, Helen. Recent graduate from Ashesi University, Ghana, doing electrical engineering. Great. All right. So yeah, so Chevening also has opportunities for engineers or people who are interested in any field of engineering, just like Nashon. Yeah. So it doesn't limit anyone. The only thing they want to see is, how are you a leader? What have you done before? What makes you stand out? Because leaders should stand out. Leaders have to have the ability to influence. So this essay is about that. The catch is, how do you express yourself in 500 words? Yeah, because you can mumble and mumble and mumble, and then you go beyond 1,000 words, but they want it 500 words. So how do you ensure that you catch what they really, really want? So during my application, I learned that one of the best ways to express yourself is using the STAR approach in your essay. Yeah, and that, but the S means the situation or the context. What is the situation in the beginning when you decided to act? Because leaders take action in whatever they do. Then the T is about the task. What did you do when you realized that there was a challenge? It can be a challenge in your profession, in your workplace, in your community, any challenge. Like what did you do? What was the task required? And then after that task, after not knowing what was the task required, what approach did you take to solve the situation or the context or the challenge? And then the R is for the result. What result was achieved? This is the approach that I usually tell applicants to take, because it helps you structure your essay and it helps you be less wordy, so that you're able to capture your leadership journey in 500 words, because those are very, very few words, especially for leaders. Leaders like to share and share. All right. So after knowing the approach to use, and this is not like limited to what you can do, it's just like us sharing what maybe worked for us and what has worked for other people that you've guided. Yeah. And then the other thing that maybe you can talk about is some of the initiatives that you've run. Yeah. What events have you facilitated before? Have you ever planned an event at your workplace? How did you do it? Did you bring people together? Did you maybe start a registration process and other, anything that shows that you have the ability to start something or the ability to influence? Yeah. And then the other catch is, avoid words like we planned an event to bring together this and this and this. They did this and no. Chevening wants to know, what did you as Sally, what did you as Dora, what did you as Chris do? Not what you did as a team. Yeah, I know you have colleagues, I know you have people in your team. You as Chris, what did you do to make sure that the process was running, to make sure that things got better in whatever you are doing in your community or in your organization? And then the other thing would be, mention your key achievements in your leadership journey. Have you ever won an award? Have you started an organization? What does the organization work with? Are you bringing engineers together to be able to maybe offer mentorship to other people? Do you volunteer in maybe IEEE? Yeah, what do you do to show that you're a leader, and what are the key achievements that you have had in your profession or in your side hustle, anything that you've done to show that you have the spirit to lead, or the spirit to be able to help others and make their lives better. Yeah. And then the last one would be, you can add hyperlinks, because you're limited to 500 words. You can add hyperlinks. yeah, to other work you've done and it's been documented. Maybe it's on YouTube, maybe it's on Twitter handle. I remember I linked mine to a video that I shared, and then it had so many views and it was shared. You know, just anything, any post on social media, anything that shows that you're really a leader. Interviews, because you've written before and they've been published on websites or in any publications. Just anything that shows a documented achievement that you've done, that you've got, or any activity that you've organized. If there'll be any questions, you can post, and then maybe Nashon can guide us on when you guys can get the answers. Yeah. So I think that's it from my end when it comes to the leadership essay. And yeah, so maybe I can go to the next question, Nashon. And then maybe as we go to the next slide, I can read more comments. I can see Martin, who's doing communication engineering, and he's an mentor at IEEE. Is that how you guys pronounce it? I'm not sure. Then, okay. And then Dora, biochemistry, Makerere Uni, Uganda. Dora, are you from Uganda? I now know a number of Ugandans who are current Cheveners, so I hope you apply. And then I can see, okay, yeah, someone says that they know Engineer Martin. All right, I hope I've mentioned everybody. Thanks, guys, for sharing what you guys are doing. Keep the comments coming.
Just if I may add something.
Yeah, sure.
Regards to leadership.
Yeah.
You guys hear me clearly?
Yes.
Yeah. Let me know, because someone told me my sound is not clear. When talking about leadership, I think you've covered everything. But one key thing that I will want to add is that probably you've gone through high school, or rather you went through primary school, then you went through high school, now you're in campus, or of course you are done. I will suggest that you distribute your leadership engagement rather than focusing on one particular area. For example, if you are a leader in campus, you just write an essay on leadership on one particular area. Or maybe you are a leader in primary school, so you focus on just primary school. People will start asking questions like, if you are a leader, it's by default. So try and spread it. Pick a scenario, maybe 10 years ago, when you're in high school, pick another scenario, maybe in campus, pick another scenario, so that it's a representative of who you are throughout your journey, rather than a section of your life. So probably that's the only thing I will add. Yeah?
Yeah, I agree. I remember someone telling me to use at least 3 examples. So yeah, don't choose one example. You are prefect. Me, I said I was a prefect in primary, and then I said something in campus, and then I said now after campus. So yeah, thanks, Nashon. Don't choose just one example. Use at least 3, so that you're trying to convince someone who will facilitate your scholarship. So yeah, please don't use one example.
You're trying to tell them you need to invest in me, and you have to convince them to invest in you. They're giving you so much money, paying for your tuition fee and everything that you need, accommodation and transport. So you need to put the work,
Yeah.
So we can move to the next question.
Yes, we can move to the next question. The next question is on networking. Let me read the next question, how it usually is on the website. The question is, Chevening is looking for individuals with strong professional relation building skills who will engage the Chevening community and influence and lead others in their chosen profession. Please explain how you build and maintain relationships in a professional capacity, using clear examples of how you currently do this, and outline how you hope to use these skills in the future. I think the question is pretty clear, and it's about networking, yeah? So this is where you also want to shine and show that, hey, by the way, networking skills zako ziko top, yeah? Your networking skills are good, yeah? You know how to bring people together. You know how to utilize the people that you meet in a good way, in a more professional way, to make more impact in what you're already doing in your leadership journey. Yeah, so the first tip, show how you're a networker and how the networks you have made in your life or other people's lives, or in a community or your organization, anything. So the first thing I already said, use hyperlinks to some of the people that you've engaged, so that they can see that they are people who are more impactful, maybe just to show their profiles, yeah, or the events that you've organized or you've taken part in, yeah, and always use the STAR model that I talked about in the other slide. And then mention how you plan to use the networks that you will make in the UK when you're back to Kenya, yeah. I remember in my essay, I talked about, because I run an organization for young women, I talked about how I want to learn about gender-based violence in the UK and how they handle that. And then I will come back and use that, yeah, to partner with the people that I have met in Kenya. So you have to link, and they have to say that you're deliberate in the networks that you want to make. And then another tip is like maybe read more on the Chevening alumni networks in Kenya and globally. There's Chevening Connect. There's so many articles and YouTube channels, by the way, about Chevening. So do a lot of research on that. And then you can also mention how you plan to contribute to the network after your scholarship. I remember, for instance, I said that I will engage the network maybe on gender issues, form a gender working group. So be very creative in what you say, and also be very realistic. By the way, guys, be very realistic. Don't be too out of this world that they don't relate with what you're saying. Use true examples, practical examples, yeah. And then finally, mention your networks and how you can use them to create more visibility on Chevening, yeah. Again, if you're running an organization, for instance, for me, I run a women's organization, I link that to what maybe I'll already have seen here in the UK, and then go back and do it, yeah. So also show that you are going to contribute to the network, yeah. I think that's it about networking. Another thing would be, I remember, I know someone who even said, have formed a group on WhatsApp. It has this and this members. I think it's a very good networking opportunity. I will share about Chevening and all that. So it's not something that is out of the world. It's something that is already happening. And just to show that you're a very good networking person, yeah, you're a good leader in networking. You know what, you're a go-getter. I think it's about being a go-getter. I hope you do understand. I don't know whether Nyandire and Nashon have anything to add about networking.
Yeah, just to mention something. When I was writing my essay in regards to networking, one of the areas that I also focused is professional networks that I am in, and one of the networks is IEEE, and I mentioned that I'm a member of IEEE, and this is what I've been doing. If you are in telecommunication, there's Cisco. Like there are so many professional networks that you can always mention, and that makes you one of the candidates who is not only linked up locally but globally. So it puts you, you know, ahead in terms of how you connect with people, how you exchange, and all that.
Yeah.
And then you need to be very honest. I can't insist further. Like in any of these essays, let it be your story. You know.
Yeah.
Don't go and read somewhere where someone wrote a very, you know, superb article, and you feel like I can copy paste, or rather I can adjust a number of things. Just be very honest and write your story, and make sure the way you write it, as Stella said, it should be, you know, take a STAR approach, and we are going to look at other different approaches later. These are some of the do's and the don'ts that you are supposed to take note of before you even start. And then give yourself time to research and also just to think through your life, which is the best example when it comes to leadership. You might find that you have so much to write, but it's good to pick the most optimal situation that will bring out this point. You know, you have limited number of words to write. 500 is very few, and you need to maximize on those 500 words by looking at the scenarios that will really put out your point. So I think the next speaker will be Nyandire, who will be covering on studying the UK. And Nyandire, you may ambush, but I know you are a smart guy, so you can take us through this.
Yeah, thank you so much. Try. So if there's any next slide, you can go to it. But in addition to what Stella and Nashon have presented, I think Stella, yeah, I could see the teacher in you coming out. So before I go to this studying in the UK, giving from my own experience, I was working for a very small organization, the Friends of Rhodes National Park. And what I learned, because it was my first time applying for the Chevening scholarship and the University of Cambridge, and it was more, to be honest, like a trial and error, because I was made to believe. Actually, I remember when I was applying, so 3 of my close friends, like all my close friends, told me, you know, una waste time, hii kitu utapata, because sisi tumeapply mara mingi na we are more qualified than you. And that's what they told me. So said I went for it. So before applying, you know, always begin with the end in mind. What do you want? What are you trying to address? Because which might link to the UK or studying in the UK. You know, this UK-Kenya partnership and why they're investing, the main objective is to try to develop Africa. So for them, it's an investment, not just on an individual, but in a particular area in Africa or a particular problem. Whether you need infrastructural development or mine was more to lobby and advocate for sustainable type of development, and that's how I came in. So try to really look at how you are, you know, if you don't go for this particular program that are applying for, what will be the problem? Ile question ya interview yenye au sema, if you don't hire you, what will you lose, or what do you stand to gain? So try to make it in a way that you're a conduit through which this kind of this education in finances will pass through you to benefit the larger society or a particular problem that Kenya is dealing with, whether it's an electricity or some engineering activity and all that. Try to make it like a bigger project. And then on networking, aside from what they've said on being subscribing to different organizations as a member, how I approached it, of course, I didn't mention much because of the word limit on which organizations I was a member to. But what I did was, when I identified a problem which is linked to the leadership problem, I got different people with different skills, because I wanted to really advocate now in this case for the Saving Nairobi National Park, for instance, or try to advocate for certain things through now the policy avenues in Kenya. So I got different people together. Like I could go to Stella, go to Chris Murimi, or go to Billy Otieno and tell them, you know what, Billy, you're good in photography. Nashon, you're a lawyer. Or Stella, you're an educator. So these are the things that I'm trying to do, and I'll need your help in this way. So convincing people, I know some of you have brought friends together or people that you know, your mentors or you're working with, towards a particular initiative that is of benefit to whatever thing you've done, either to people, to girl child, to education, now in my case to environmental conservation. This is also showing it, aside from your leadership skills, but how you made use of your network to achieve a cause. And there's an evidence towards or the success story towards this particular approach. So aside from networking, kama wewe si member wa any other organization or whichever, how have you brought different people together towards a cause? Inaweza kuwa ni ndogo at community level, because not all of us work on Nairobi. So there are those people umeleta tu watu wadogo, just to like a small group of people in the villages to do whatever thing you're doing, and then it's successful. That is also part of using your network, and they'll see that actually you have the capabilities of bringing different or identifying different strengths and bring them together towards a cause. So studying in the UK, again, being proactive and looking at why do I want to go, what do I want to achieve, how does this relate to what I've done in the past, and how will this course really link to my future aspirations, and how I approach it. And I sat down, took a paper, traditionally kalamu tuna kitabu, and then ask myself, what is a success story like for me? I'm going for a particular program. I'm assuming now of this program. At the end of it, 10 years down the line, what is the one line or the one thing that I would say that single cause ingekuwa achieved? So I normally start, nakujanga backwards from the end story. What is a success story for you personally? Why are you going for this particular program? And how is it aligned to your future aspirations? because here kwenda different, like ujui which course to go for might also really throw you under the bus, because you not be having substantive words, 500 words, so meaning you really have to say a forest of points with a desert of words. Yes.
Just
sorry, yeah. So I'm not sure that. So ideally,
I see
choosing your course.
Guys from Uganda.
Yes.
We can minimize.
Oh, Swahili. Sorry. Sorry, I assumed everyone was from Kenya. Anyway, yeah. So what I'm saying is try to really link your particular course of choice to your future aspirations, especially in your line of profession, whatever you're choosing. And in my case, try to shape your aspiration to solve a particular problem or to the benefit of the wider public. So the research on that particular course, and also mention in certain modules of the course structure and how they'll benefit you, will really indicate that you've actually researched on that particular program and you know what you're going for, and it's very specific what you're going to get. And in this way, how you structure your essay in this section will also give them an indication whether you really have a very clear plans of coming back to Africa, because their main goal is to develop Africa, not for you to come and stay here. So in this case, you could say now, like, I'm going for this particular program, and this is how it will help me achieve my future aspirations. Especially, for instance, the module on this particular topic will help me address the particular problem when I come back, either through the organization that I've established. And what I've realized is they like people who are pragmatic and have taken initiatives to start new organizations. Also mention also the universities that you're going for and why you chose them. Again, I would say either the multidisciplinary approach or the holistic approach with that particular program and why you need it, and then also do your research on the UK culture, and you wanting to learn more about it, and then try to apply it in your leadership program. So what people from Kenya, and at that time I also mentioned that UK-Kenya partnership. So I looked at it in details, like how would I structure this partnership to align with my future aspirations, and why I chose the UK and not the US or any other country. And then another thing that you also intend to do to prove, which also comes on the interview stage, try to prove, or rather showcase, that you're an all-round person. So bring in the professionalism bit of it, but then the co-curricular activity. Either if you're a photographer, you want to visit different historic sites within the UK, or you want to learn the history of the UK, either UK and Scotland, or you want to do what. And also, I mentioned the English Premier League. Like, one of my dreams is also to watch Manchester United beating Chelsea, whichever club in London. So also bring in the co-curricular activity so that you become an all-round person. Is there a next slide?
Yes, there is, but it's career.
Oh, okay. So, like, ideally, I think I'm trying to summarize, but try to begin from the end to the beginning. And for someone who may not apply this year but maybe next year, build your CV. Try working on, develop your CV and take those challenges in whatever area of specification or line of profession you're pursuing. Try to make a difference. And again, I love that being proactive in nature. Try to do things, whether it's be within your professional jurisdiction or beyond, but for the benefit of the society, or towards addressing some of your national key goals. So in this case, you'll get to a point whereby when you're writing the essay, you really don't look for points. Actually, you're spoiled for choice which one to actually put down. So take initiatives really on the process, and be genuine, because like Stella said, be honest, but again, be genuine. What is your main intention of going for this case? Like, what are you trying to achieve? Is your line of profession a passion, or you just landed on it for the sake of you graduated? So again, be genuine. Try to develop your CV so that by the time you're applying for it, you have things that you have a track record of what you've done. I think also specifying really what you want to do and making your career plan in a way that will showcase that you have plans of going back to Africa, I think will be a plus in your application process. Yeah.
Thank you very much, Nyandire. So the next part is on career plan, and I will cover this part. Okay, let me just move to the next slide. So the question is still the same. You need to have 500 words, strictly 500 words or less. And the question is, Chevening is looking for individuals who have a clear post-study career plan. Please outline your immediate plans upon returning home and your longer-term career goals. You may wish to consider how this relates to the UK government in what they are doing in your country. And then you have, of course, the 500 cap. So this is a section where you need to shine. This is a section where you need to prove to whoever is marking, which is the panelist, that they're investing on you and you're coming back to give back to the society. Stella was very particular that Chevening is about leadership. At the same time, I also want you to go study and come back and support what the SDG goals, or rather the priority SDG goals in Kenya. They don't want the so-called brain drain, where you go study and disappear. So this is the part where you have to structure, according to me, you have to structure it in 3 different parts. You have a short-term goal, a mid-term, and a long-term. And the approach, the first 2 essays that we've discussed, you are going to take a different approach as explained by the speaker. But this one, you have to use the SMART approach. I think in many arenas during our high school education, you learn something to do with SMART, where you have to be specific, measurable, achievable, realistic, and time-bound. So that concept comes to play when you're writing this essay. You have to know exactly what you are going to do upon returning on the short term, because you've said you are a leader and you've said you can network. So Chevening wants to know, once you come back, how are you going to use the skills that you've learned, the network that you've created? How are you going to use that for the benefit of, let me say, Nyandire, or for the benefit of Stella and the people around you and the society as a whole? So you must be very particular on, once you return back, what are you going to do? You might say, for example, you're currently working as you write the essay. You might have an argument that upon returning, I will go back to my employer, because being there, I'll be able to put the skills that I've learned into practice. And from that arena, I will be able to become better so that I can move to stage 2, which is the midterm, where midterm will say, upon opportunity presenting themselves, I will go maybe to the managerial position, or I will want to go to be a team leader, to lead something. And then, of course, long-term goals, this is where we say you are very much allowed to dream big, because I'm trying to look at a scenario where I can sponsor you, I pay for your school fees and all that, but you're dreaming small. Like you don't want to put yourself somewhere, in the limelight, somewhere where you can have very huge impact to the society, because the idea is you need to have a bigger impact to the society. You need to bring that change that is one of the key mission of Chevening. So on the long term, you can mention maybe you want to lead a certain organization. You want to become a minister in this area, become the president. So you're very much allowed to dream big. But the idea is, let us see the build-up. Chevening want to see the build-up from A to B to C. It's very vague for you to say, upon return, I will want to vie, or I will want to vie for presidency. There will be a lot of questions. Where will you get the money? Where is the network? Because presidency, these are political seats. You need to know people. There's a lot of things that come to play. So you must be very realistic on what you want to do. And another thing, you must tie it to what UK is doing in Kenya, because they have priorities. For example, if you're studying telecommunication or ICT, we have issues with cybersecurity. We have issues with Al-Shabaab, all these issues that deals with online cyber-related security issues. If you can venture into that, well and good. If you are in leadership, they want to see you've done public policy, you understand about how to come up with great policy. Upon coming back, what are you going to do with that skill? So you must be very specific, and it should be something that you can measure. You know, how how do you quantify your achievement? You know, you can say upon returning, I will want to foster or rather bring together young men who have skills in IT just to rely on my network, to try and link them with my network, to be able to support them to harness their skills and be able to, you know, bring out business out of whatever skills the young people have. So it's a smart way of trying to see upon return, what are the things that I will immediately do? Then how will this translate me to my midterm goal? Because it has to connect. Everything has to connect. We don't want a scenario where maybe when you send an essay, we can see clear disconnect between your long-term and your short-term goal, or between your midterm and your short-term goal. There's a disconnect. It's not building up. So you must ensure it's up. And then, as I said, also be realistic. Try and see it from an outside eye. If you are someone gave you that essay to read, will you see the realism in it? Will you see that it's connecting? Sometimes also try and link up and with other people, give them your essay and just even your family member and just get to know their opinion. Is it making sense? And after this session, we are going to maybe give you a sample of essays that were written in regards to what we are talking about, and you'll be able to see how all these things are connecting. Yeah. So because of time, I think I will just give ourselves like 5 minutes break. Maybe you can stretch before I welcome the next speaker, who will be talking about Rhodes Scholarship, Martin Wachiye. He's a Rhodes Scholar, and he's also a student. So let's take 5 minutes break so we can resume at 1:52, 1:53, right? That is UK time. So Kenyan time, it should be around 4:52, right? So let's take a break. Martin Wachiye to lead us in the next session. Martin.
Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you clearly.
Okay. Let me share the slide. Just 1 minute.
I know it can be challenging. Is your share button active? Great, I can see it.
Okay, technology is becoming quite challenging. Okay. I hope you can see me and you can hear me right now.
Yeah, it's clear. And we can hear you clearly.
Okay. Yeah, so thank you everyone. My name is Martin Wafula, and I'm from Kenya. That is, I was born, raised, and did everything in Kenya except right now. So I went to St. Joseph's Boys High School with Nashon. That's where we met, and then after that, we parted our ways. I went to Multimedia University where I did telecommunication engineering, which is one of the programs I think I enjoyed very much, and I would still do it again if I was taken back to undergrad. Right now, I'm on a Rhodes scholarship in University of Oxford, and this is what we are going to talk about today. I'm going to just give a very short overview of the Rhodes Scholarship and just scholarships in general. Then we can just have questions, which is a better way to deal with everything. So I want first of all to appreciate the first speakers from Chevening, who have shared a great deal, and I think most of these tips that are being shared apply across different scholarships. There are only a few differences which you're going to notice, but majority of the ideas they have shared, you can use them across the board while applying for Chevening, while applying for Rhodes, while applying for Knight Hennessy in Stanford, while applying for this another one called Erasmus for EU countries. So there are so many scholarships around the world, and it's just upon you to be keen and to see which one you want. So I just want to go straight ahead to the application process for the Rhodes Scholarship. Now, before I just explain this application process, which have the source of this process is the Rhodes Trust website. I just want to tell you a few things. So when you decide to apply for the Rhodes Scholarship in Kenya, they open application period around August. So between the beginning of August to the end In fact, it starts a little bit early. I think Daniel will remind us that when he comes on probably 2 months application period. So, but it ends at on 31st August. So you have a very long time for you to apply. And this is because of some of the requirements that require you to really have enough time to prepare. And so when you get to apply, one question you always ask yourself is, am I eligible to apply for this scholarship? Because there's no need to apply for some of them when you are not eligible, especially most of them are pegged on age, and some of them are pegged on working experience. There are those that want you to have 2 years working experience. There are those that want you to be very young. So in short, they're saying you should not have a lot of working experience. So it's quite different. You need to read and find out what are the requirements. But sometimes people always say that you can just apply because you never know. You know, in Africa, we believe in luck, which I think sometimes works. So you should always never disqualify yourself before trying. But the Rhodes Scholarship is quite strict on age requirement. And for Kenya, the age requirement is 24. And but every time you need to look at the website to see the updates on the age requirements. So you can only apply when you're 24, or if you're doing an engineering course, or those courses take longer in school, like medicine and so on. There's a different requirement that is like 1 year older than the stated age requirement. So eligibility is very important. You need to have graduated. And of course, because it's a very competitive process, so you'd at least require good grades for your academic work. Now, after checking your eligibility, then you go right ahead, because you say, yes, I'm eligible. This is the first step. You go right ahead and start applying. So you move to the next step, where you're doing your choice of course in Oxford. So what course do you want to study? That's a very important aspect. And I think our previous speakers have talked about it. You're not just going to randomly do anything. You're going to take a specific course. So in this case, for example, I wanted to do communication engineering. So I thought the course that is related to communication engineering in Oxford would be engineering science. And so I selected engineering science as a course. And of course, specifically what the communication, that is the wireless communication group. So it's the communication engineering research group. So that's where people in telecom and those electronics engineering would probably be. If you're interested in, let's say, in climate change, most likely you'll be finding yourself in climate Center for Climate Studies, or in geography, or in those departments. If you're interested in Africa studies, you'll find yourself in the Department for Africa Studies or Refugee Studies. So it's quite diverse, depends with what interests you are. And since this is an IEEE event, I'm assuming majority of the people would be probably either in engineering or computer science, computing, or friends of engineering. You know, nowadays IEEE is open to people even doing economics, mass communication, and so on. So everyone has a program. That's the beauty of the Rhodes Scholarship, as long as this program is offered in Oxford. Because for the Rhodes Scholarship, you can only go to Oxford. There's no, you can't choose any other university. So it's limited to programs that are being offered in Oxford. And there's a diversity of programs here. Some of others you'd never think they're degree programs. So you choose your course. After that, you write a personal statement. And this again comes to what the speakers have talked about before. A personal statement is talking about yourself. It's very important for you to note that. You're talking about yourself. Who are you? Of course, there's been an old strategy that people have used that attract attention. For example, I'm a poor child from, I don't know, poor family. It's fine. I was a poor child from a poor family as well. But these are no longer selling points, because there's a highly likelihood that maybe you are all applying, your poor children from poor background. And now that we are also from a third world country, most likely also these scholarships have different issues they want to deal with. Like you've seen the Chevening, they've talked about leadership and transferring knowledge or creating those bonding and relationships between Kenya and the UK. Same thing to Rhodes Scholarship. We would want to see that leadership. There's also a legacy issue, which is a topic for another day, for another discussion. But you'd find interesting aspects such as leadership, exchange program. These scholars are supposed to fight the world's fight. That's the slogan for Rhodes Scholarship, fighting the world's fight. So you're expected to talk about yourself. So by talking about yourself is who are you? What are you doing? Like you're currently completing your final year of your undergraduate, and apart from that, what else do you describe? Do you do? So there's some scholarships that are specific interested in leadership. In Rhodes Scholarship, they say there's no one way to lead. So there's so many different ways in which you can capture this. So some of us were student leaders. I was a student leader in my undergraduate. I was a student leader in high school and maybe even primary, all those levels. But there are other people who are leading in sports. So you are a sportsman. That's a very attractive feature also for the Rhodes Scholarship. Where are you leading? So you know one way to lead, either in sports, in music, you are doing activism, you are participating in political activism or political discourse in the country, and you're fighting for rights, for voter rights or for women's rights or for rights of the youth. You want to see voter registration increase. Those are some of the things that play a very significant role in you getting this scholarship. You're doing a lot of work with climate change or environmental conservation. You always go out there in your little town around KU or around Juja and do environmental cleaning, or you have an environment club, or you are a member of Rotaract Club where you do a lot of community service. So there's no one way to lead. There's so many different ways. There's so many diverse ways. You're good at music. I remember during my interview, I told them I'm a very good Swahili poet, which I am. So that's something very interesting. Someone would want to see a person who is all-rounded. So you'd find people, something else I also said, which is also true. I like African folk songs. So like those Luya songs where you shake your shoulders, we call them Kamaveka. Those are some of the interesting things you talk about. Like, no one way to lead. There's so many diverse ways. If Daniel talks to you, maybe he has a different things he talked about. So there's no specific outline of the way these questions will be structured. If you talk to Nashon here, you'd probably find out maybe they have very different skills. If you talk to Stella, she's told us she's an educator, so we must answer the question. So there's so many diverse skills that are brought on board. So you must not try to fix yourself or like copy or try to be like Nashon here or try to be like myself. Just be yourself. Come out with your unique skills. Come out with your unique contribution. I was doing boy-child empowerment, and this was a very heated discussion in that interview panel. It was a big interview panel, and I was talking about the reason why we opted to get into boy-child empowerment and what drove us to do this in Kajiado area, because there was a lot of young boys dropping out of school, getting to become matatu totes in Rongai. You know, Nganya za Ronga. So it's a very lucrative business. You go for one trip and you make 3K. So what are you even doing in school? So some of these young men will drop out of school and become the toad. So these are some of the motivating factors I was putting into that personal statement, and so the personal statement talks about you. Then I also talked a little bit about my history, how I came to like mathematics, which I think was a personal effort from my mother, who trained me to love mathematics at a very early age. So a personal statement gives a holistic view about you. your technical background, talk about what you've studied and why you studied it. Talk about your community engagements. Maybe you're doing your community initiatives, you're doing climate change, you're doing your political discourse, environmental cleaning, a lot of things you can think about. It doesn't have to be specific. You don't have to have been an academic secretary in Multimedia University, because at any point there was only one. And in 2017 or 2016, there was only one called Martin Wachiye. So there are other 5,000 students. So all of them, what were they doing? So it can't be the same thing. It has to be a lot of diversity and a lot of issues that you can put in your personal statement. So you've put in the professional, you've put in the community initiative, and you've also put in your vision. Why do you want this scholarship? Why do you want to come to Oxford? Why do you want to come to the United Kingdom to study? What is the end goal? What is your long-term plan? What is your short-term plan? As they have told you already with the Chevening group. So you just have to open your mind. Don't tie yourself down. There are so many ways you can put this one down. So today, as we do this talk, one thing you should always remember, and even if you forget everything we say, remember there's no one way to lead. So just diversify and bring in your unique talent, your unique character. You might be a comedian, you might be a poet, you might be a singer. All those are leadership skills. So that's what comes into your personal statement. It's a one-page thing, so it doesn't have to be very long. Again, you need to highlight all these achievements in that one page. So sometimes I always tell people you must know how to summarize, because some of you here have done so many things. You're already in IEEE, you're leaders. These are some of the things that should appear in your personal statement, because it shows you're already joining a professional body as a student. It shows how determined or how focused you are as a young person. So always remember, like if you're applying for the Rhodes Scholarship, its slogan is fighting the world's fights. So you must always try to see how are you going to fight the world's fight. When you get in, you can fight the world's fight by becoming an astute researcher, where you become a guru in your field and do a lot of interesting work in your area. You can fight the world's fight by joining climate initiative and trying to improve biodiversity. You can fight the world's fight by so many different initiatives, protecting the oceans or trying to renewable energy is a big thing in Kenya. So those are some of the things that should come in mind. And when you talk about renewable energy, you could mention things like the projects that are going on right now. We have a lot of IEEE site initiatives that or humanitarian initiatives where schools are being solar powered, and I know some of us in this call are participating in those initiatives. Those are some of the things that should come in mind and should be able to appear in your personal statement. So you are done with the personal statement, and if you say the things that I'm talking about in your own unique way, don't Google, don't read, don't ask someone to send you their personal statement. Write yours first, then you can now ask for comments, where you send it to Minor to read, and he'll tell you, this is cool, but your tenses, your pronunciation, or your tenses or your language structure needs to be a little bit better. But when you Google, it narrows down your thinking, because you're writing about yourself. Trust me, you can't find things about yourself on the internet unless you're checking your Facebook. Then you move next, reference letters. So Rhodes Scholarship requires you to have 5 referees. 5 referees is not an easy task to perform, as some of you might be thinking. You need to have 3 academic referees. These are like your lecturers or your professors, and they're not interested in titles. Like, I know some of you, when they say 5 referees, 3 academic, they would go and look for professor, maybe Professor Jalango, and then with Riek, Miek, Diek, all those titles. They're not interested in the titles. They're interested in, does your referee know you? So this referee does not need to be the dean of the faculty. Maybe you've never met your dean since you went to Moi University. Maybe you've never met your dean since you went to Makerere University. But there's that lecturer who taught you signal processing. There's that lecturer who taught you thermodynamics and has been your mentor over time. These are the people who should write your references because they know you, they can clearly write. And you see, for me, when I chose my referees, I chose 3 of my lecturers. And I remember most of them were my lecturers. They taught me in class. One of them taught me calculus 1 to calculus 4. Another one taught me control engineering. And the other one taught me electromagnetics. These are people, despite the fact that they taught me these technical units, they still knew this Martin likes making a lot of noise in student leadership. They still knew this Martin is in the university choir because they're writing this recommendation privately. The guy is your professor, but also knows the things you're doing. That's what we mean by mentorship. And that's why when the first speakers have been speaking, they have talked about networking. You start networking even in your university, so that when you need to look for referees, you just call Dr. Mwema and say, hi, Daktari, I need recommendation. I'm applying for Chevening scholarship. I'm applying for Rhodes scholarship. I'm applying for Knight Hennessy scholarship or Fulbright scholarship. Because we put our referees at crossroads. Some of them, we tell them to write recommendations and they don't know us. So they get an old recommendation letter and just change the title, change from Nicholas Mwambu to Martin Wafula. So you need to network and know these references. So you need 3 academic references from 3 of your lecturers. If you know your dean, still fine, they can write for you. If you know your chairman of department, it's fine. But it doesn't have to be someone with rank or hierarchy in school. You just need to get your professors or your lecturers who are teaching you. Then you need 2 character referees. So character referees, these are people who know the person in you. So you're telling us you do a lot of climate change initiative. Who are you doing it with? So you do a lot of political discourse. Who can say, maybe your character referee is Okiya Omtata. So you write Okiya Omtata there, or your character referee is Bobby Wine in Uganda, who is pushing for electoral justice. You write that referee. As long as they know you, don't go for people who don't know you. So some of you, because you probably met Michelle Obama once in an event, you write her as your character referee. Then they sent Michelle Obama an email to write a recommendation about Nashon minor. Michelle Obama does not know Nashon minor. That does not add value because the content of that reference letter is the important part. So you need to get people who know you. Like, for example, myself, when I was picking my character referee, one was my music patron in Multimedia University, who we've worked with. She has been like with me through all my stages in campus from first year to 5th year. This is someone who knows me, and she wrote me a good recommendation. I never looked at it, but I know because I got the scholarship. Because the referees don't send you the reference letters. They just sent it directly to Rhodes' house. Then the other one was the lady, my lecturer in university. She didn't teach me, but we were working with her on this project of mentorship and boy-child empowerment. She also wrote recommendation because we've worked with her for a long time and she knew what I was doing and she knew most of these things. So those are some of the initiatives you need to put yourself in. When you're working with people, create networks, build bridges, not the NASA ones, build the right bridges. People you will go to when you need this recommendation. So you have 5 reference letters, 3 academic. So at least have your lecturers as your friends. Some of these people are your networks. They'll give you connections, not only to scholarships and recommendations, even jobs. I worked for a consulting firm before I came to Oxford. And most of those recommendations I got from my lecturers who are very happy to write them for me. So let's build those connections and networks. Some of them will be your mentors and supervisors. So character referees, maybe you're working with IEEE young professionals, and you know Sally here, an experienced engineer, she can write you a good recommendation. That is if she knows you very well, she can put in a good recommendation. They'll get that recommendation and use it because the content of the recommendation letter is what matters, not the title of the person writing. So if you want Uhuru Kenyatta to write your recommendation letter, he might only write one line, and that will not give you that scholarship. So get people who know you. So we are done with the reference letters. Next, it's called checking and gathering documents. So in this case, so all these things are done on the portal, on the application portal. So documents is, do you have all your transcripts for your university grades? Do you have your certificate? If you have graduated, if you've not graduated, it's still fine. If you're in final year, you can still apply for Rhodes scholarship. Then you will give your certificate after you graduate. So these are just documents that prove. So if you have not graduated, you need all those transcripts, all your recommendation, all your personal statement, like all these documents need to be put in place. Then after checking and gathering documents, so this is just by the way, which someone should be able to do. It's called social engagement. So Rhodes scholarship, they'll send you an email. So checking and gathering documents, that you've sent your documents, they've looked through it, and they have now selected about, let's say like in my year, they selected 8 people for the final interview. So before the final interview, we have something called the social engagement. So one day before the interview, you go and meet with the former Rhodes scholars or the alumni from Kenya. So that meeting happened at the ambassador's house, the High Commissioner for England, where we sat down and you meet these scholars, you meet these guys. So in that team of the people you're meeting, around 8 of them will be in your interviewing panel, will interview you the next day. But this is just a social engagement. It's not there to like chat, to grade you, or it will not contribute to your final marks or as a selection. No. This is just getting to know each other, getting to meet Rhodes scholars, because you're already a finalist, and that's already an achievement. You've been selected for the interview. So you sit down, you have these discussions. I remember we talked about politics, and the ambassador challenged me a bit with some charts. We talked about aliens, we talked about space exploration. So it's just a wide variety of topics. You talked about data and analytics. We even talked among each other, the people we are going to be interviewed. We even started a WhatsApp group. So social engagement is a very important day. You just be you. Don't try to fake. Don't try to look cool. Don't try to threaten people or come and appear like the big man. Big man syndrome is very bad. You know, just come, be simple, participate in discussions, talk to people, meet, make new networks, get new contacts. You might not get the scholarship, but these contacts are very important. These are people who call you when they have jobs, because some of the former Rhodes scholars are directors in big actuarial companies, in companies such as British American Tobacco, in institutions such as the Central Bank of Kenya. The Deputy Governor Sheila is always there. You meet guys. So people like David D have been there before in those interviews. So you get to meet these big names. So it's a good opportunity for you to network and socialize. You might not get the scholarship because they only take 2 in Kenya. So, and you're 8. So the 6 can also use this opportunity to create networks. Then after that day, the next day, of course, you have a good meal and good drinks. Yeah. So the next day you do your final interview. The final interview is 1 hour per person. You go inside that interview. Trust me, you don't need a marking scheme or Mwakenya for that interview. You need to like talk to the interviewers. You will just see the interview go from your professional background. For us, we talked about why I wanted to do research in that area of wireless communication. Then we moved to community initiative. We talked about boy-child empowerment. Then we went to something else. We talked about my love for folk songs, traditional African music, my love for Swahili poetry. Those are some of the things we discussed in the interview. It has to be an engaging talk. It has to be two-way. You engaging the interviewing panel. It should be a discussion. So when you prepare for the final interviews, avoid cramming concepts, avoid trying to look superficial, avoid trying to answer like you have a marking scheme when you go to that interview, because the questions are just like open. They lead each other. So when you talk about one thing and you start talking about, oh, I am doing boy child empowerment, then of course the other questions would come in. What is your position on women empowerment? What is your position on gender rights? What is your position on different topics? So these are some of the topics that will come in. What is your view on climate change? What do you think about green energy investments? So those are some of the very important things that you need to look. So very important for you to note in this process is you need to network to get your referees and have relationships so that you don't struggle while looking for these referees, because it will save you time. You need to have people on your phone call. You just call, hello, Dr. or Professor Konditi in Technical University of Kenya. Please, I need a recommendation, and I know you taught me microwaves and electro. It'd be like, Martin, I will write one. So you don't have to struggle. So network to have your recommendations. In IEEE, YP, be active, get these IEEE senior members to be your mentors, to be your referees, participate in activities, volunteer to give talks. When people are going to Moi University to talk about life as an early graduate, go there, give a talk about what were your struggles, what are the cool things you encountered as a young graduate or as a new graduate. So these are some of the things. Engage yourself in community initiatives. Try to find a fight the world's fight. There's so many issues to be worked on. Things like FGM in Kenya, things like drug addiction in the Coast Province or in place, slum, the living conditions in Kenyan slums. There's so many things. You don't need to fight all of them, but you can have at least one. You can't say you can't do anything. Or if you're doing music, write your music. If you're in sports, do your sports. So know one way to lead. Always remember that. And in doing that, you're going to be able to get these scholarships. And trust me, you will get it. Then finally, when you're doing all that, remember, how are you going to do what you have told this panel you're going to do? Because when you give these promises, you need to understand and keep them. And then how will you keep doing it? So you need to keep fighting. You need to keep up, even after getting the scholarship. That's the post-scholarship, or after not getting the scholarship. You need to keep up with your initiatives, with your fights, and with your participation in the community, and with your participation in making the country a better place. Ask for voter rights. People need to be registered and fight things like tribalism in different areas. So all that is how you get to get the Rhodes Scholarship. And I think some of these things apply across the board, even in other scholarships. I think other speakers will be able to highlight on those. Of course, I put that picture there to also increase your appetite for application for these scholarships. That is called the Radcliffe Camera. It's one of iconic buildings in Oxford, and also down there is just a library. So you can imagine reading in such an environment. Of course, you have to understand what you're reading. Yeah.
Yeah, it is beautiful.
And then honestly. Yeah. Thank you, Nashon. So if you want more information, you can always check the Rhodes Trust, where I got this, where this process has been explained, the application process plus all the other. You can even look at profiles of former scholars and what they're doing right now. People like, in every talk they must mention. People like Bill Clinton was a Rhodes Scholar. In current Biden, Pete, the first gay cabinet secretary for transport, was a former Rhodes Scholar. So these are some of the achievement of what scholars are doing out here. So you need to look at the website and try to see when applications open, because we are getting to that time of the year. And open yourself. There are other scholarships by the Ministry of Education. So many of them. When you go to the Ministry of Education in Kenya, I'm sure Rhodes Scholarship, now that we have people, I've seen someone from Uganda, there's the East African Scholarship as well for Rhodes Scholarship. There's a slot for East Africa. And I've also seen someone from Ghana. There's a slot for West Africa, and also there have been discussion to increase the number of allocations for those constituencies. So Kenya is a constituency on itself. Then East Africa is a constituency that includes Tanzania, Rwanda, Burundi, Uganda, and I think, I'm not sure if South Sudan is there, but you can always check the website. So feel free to apply, feel free to network. Not getting that scholarship should never be the end of the journey. In fact, keep trying to applying most of these scholarships. I applied for Rhodes scholarship one time from the beginning to the end, and eventually I got it. So it's just upon you to decide and apply. Most people say I've not gotten the scholarship, but if you ask them, how many have you applied for to the end? 0 is the number. Very few people finish applying for these scholarships. That's why the final numbers, you find the numbers are fewer. So tell yourself you're going to do it and be seen doing it. Also, this is one of the colleges here in Oxford. It's called Magdalene. I am told it's not Magdalene, it's Magdalene. G is silent. So when you come to the UK, those are some of the things you will encounter. So guys, it was nice talking to you. I hope if you have any questions, I'll be happy to respond. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Martin. That was a very great presentation. And the idea is you might not get the scholarship, but you'll never go 0. Like, there's always network that will always gain. There's always experience that will always gain. We have guys who, for example, Martin has said he got it from the first trial. We have guys who got it from second, third trial. So it's a matter of you being having that tenacity within you and being determined. And whether, as I said, whether you get it or not, you'll never go scot-free. Like, there's always that one additional thing you'll always gain. You will increase your network, you'll meet new people, you will have a unique experience. So I will highly recommend for anyone who has always procrastinate, try, put one scholarship and make sure you go till the end. I'm one of the victims. I think I applied a number of scholarships, but I never used to submit. And the only one I submitted, I got it. So you have to put the work also. It doesn't just come. You have to be very determined to reach the end. So our last speaker is Daniel Mutia. He is going to talk on matters regarding MasterCard, and as he said earlier, he's also a scholar who is going to join Martin very soon because he got the Rhodes scholarship for 2022, 2023, if I'm not wrong. He will clarify. So Daniel, you can take it up.
Yeah, thanks, Nashon. It's really hard to talk about Nashon, Stella, Martin, Nyandire. I think they are very good presenters, and I feel like they've covered.
I think Daniel network has an issue.
So, keep what they've talked about in mind, even as you apply for different scholarships.
Daniel, I think we lost you for a few seconds, yeah?
Okay. Can you hear me now?
Yeah, right now it's better.
Okay, sorry. I don't know what is happening. I will just mute my video. Yeah, I think you can hear me now. So
yeah,
I would say
okay.
The skills the suggestions that Nashon, Nyandire, Stella, and Martin made in terms of how you make a good application, they apply across the board, because a lot of these scholarships, they are looking for people who are academically talented, ambitious, who are leaders, who are problem solvers. So it's up to you through the essays that they have for you to demonstrate that. I'll just give a few points on Rhodes scholarship, though I think Martin covered almost everything. I know it can be a bit scary, hearing about these scholarships, hearing about what the people who've gotten them have gone on to do, and feeling that you're not worthy, that you're not good enough for them. But you actually are, and you have to believe that before you get started. So it's okay to doubt yourself, but pull yourself up, give it a try, because if you don't try, you will never know. And people actually regret things that they didn't try rather than things they tried and maybe not succeeded. Also, for Rhodes scholarship, start early. Applications open in June through to end of August. As Martin said, there are so many things you have to do. There is the personal statement. There are 5 referees. So you need to start early and take some time to reflect about the journey that you've traveled, and so that you can make a better representation of yourself in the personal statement, and so on. Also, it helps to talk to current scholars of the scholarship that you're applying to. Make sure you connect to 1 or 2. I think LinkedIn is a very good tool, and I think IEEE is also a good tool to connect with people. Just but don't go to the current scholars when you're not already prepared. Go to the website, read the basic stuff, so that when you're coming, you're asking specific questions or clarifications. In terms of writing your personal statements, I would say, be authentic and tell your story in the best way that you know how. There is no standard structure on how to write or anything. Just tell your story the best way you know how to tell it. So with that said, I'll go ahead to talk about MasterCard Foundation Scholarship, for which I'm a scholar at the University of Edinburgh. Nashon, I can't seem to share.
You can share at the bottom.
I can see it, but it's saying open system preferences.
There's
let me
mute, stop, and then share right at the bottom.
Yeah, I can. Okay, I see. I needed to give permission. Yeah.
Let me know if you can share it. If not, I can share for you.
Yeah, because it keeps on saying open. The button is not active.
Okay. Can you share to my email? Then I can share.
Yes. Let me do that. Sorry, everyone.
Because you are a host, so I don't really understand why it can't allow you. But I can share on your
I
behalf.
think it's probably permission issues for my machine.
I think I've also enabled him. I've given him the presenter privileges. Maybe he can try again.
Try again, Daniel.
Okay.
The button should be active.
Okay, let me try. Yeah, let me just share it with you, Nashon.
Okay. All right.
It still doesn't seem to work.
Sorry guys, just give us a few minutes so that I can share it.
Yeah, it's okay.
So we have a number of questions. I see there are a number of guys who also send their question. At the end of it all, we'll start with the questions that were shared earlier. Then in case you have any personal specific question, we can proceed and have the speaker address them. Daniel, have you shared?
Oh, it's loading. Just a minute. Yeah, so it's sent now.
Is it technology?
Yeah,
Copies.
it's sent. It's sent. Should have it in a short while.
COVID has introduced both positive and negative aspects. One of the positive aspects is this year we can now have meetings online. So I have received it. Let me just
Okay.
it up.
Oh, I can see your message, Joseph. Thanks for coming around. Yeah, as I wait for Nashon to share, yeah, I also want to mention I went to JKUAT for a while actually. So if there's anyone from JKUAT, I was there from 2014 to 2016, and I served in the student council, JKUSA, as the college representative for engineering. So yeah, I will introduce a bit about MasterCard Foundation Scholarship at the University of Edinburgh. So MasterCard Foundation actually has scholarships in various universities across the world, not just in Edinburgh. Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you.
Yeah, so not just in Edinburgh, and these scholarships, they target students from sub-Saharan Africa. So there are partner universities in Canada, that is Toronto, UBC, McGill. There are a couple in the US, a couple in Africa, Ashesi, Makerere, and so on. But I'll talk about the one in Edinburgh. Let's go to the next slide. So just about Edinburgh and the city. So Edinburgh is the capital of Scotland. It's a very, very beautiful city, and it's one of the UNESCO's heritage centers. So they've preserved the traditional architecture and everything, and it has very beautiful views. Many hills that you can go climb, many beaches. Of course, during winter, that's not really an attraction, but in the summer, it's really amazing. And it's been voted one of the top 10 student cities in the world to study. So it's a brilliant place to be at. Next. So just a brief preview about the scholarship. So initially when the scholarship started, it was supporting both undergraduate and postgraduate, and also online distance learning masters. But the last class of undergraduates joined in 2019, so there are no more undergraduates. But the scholarship is still taking in people for masters, both on campus and also for distance learning. Next. Yeah, next. So basics about the MSc program. As most MSc courses in the UK, it's a 1-year course. Applications normally open in, currently they are closed, but they are going to open in October. They open in October of every year, and you have a month to apply. And unlike the other scholarships that have been presented for MasterCard, they have restrictions on the courses that you can take because they are trying to look at issues that are more prevalent in sub-Saharan Africa, and they want students to engage more with these courses. The scholarship is a comprehensive scholarship which covers your tuition fee, travel expenses, visas, accommodation, a monthly stipend. So once you get the scholarship, it's just, the only worry you have is to study. That all the other costs that you need are catered for. Next. So these are the programs that currently the scholarship is supporting students to study. I'll send you a link to the website so that you can have a look at them yourself. But especially because a lot of people here are engineers, maybe you might be, we have engineers who come to study social sciences, but if you still want to stick to engineering, there are courses such as sustainable energy systems, design for change, finance, technology, and policy, and also for online distance learning, there are courses such as carbon finance, etc. Next. So, as I said, it's, the requirements are very similar to the other scholarships. And, I know most people don't talk about this, but, being able to show a track record of doing well academically and demonstrating that you can withstand the rigorous UK teaching, that's very important. It's also important to demonstrate, that you've been a leader in your community, that you've taken up initiatives, and as Stella was saying earlier, and many other, and the other presenters, when you're discussing leadership experiences or something you did, try as much as possible to talk about what you personally contributed. I think there is more on that later. And also, MasterCard scholarship is a need-based scholarship. It's a scholarship for people who cannot otherwise afford. Of course, as Nashon was saying, the definition of that when you come to a developed country, that changes because the fee here in a semester or in an academic year, it's more than 20,000, 20,000 pounds. So not many families in developing countries can afford that. So being disadvantaged financially doesn't necessarily mean that you have to be having 1 meal a day and so on in your family. So that's broad. Next. So again, what I talked about, these slides were partially prepared by a recruiter at MasterCard, one of the program heads. So, I wouldn't put a track record like this. I know sometimes it's difficult, but just so they are not fully my words, but they are true. So yeah, just academic track record that's a given, and then leadership, being able to show you engage with initiatives in your community, that that might be the place you come from, where you're living, where you're studying, and showing that you're that leader who takes initiative to make change, and that you care about the people around you. So yeah, and don't just mention, but go into depth of the examples that you're talking about, and also your aspirations for the future, that I've done this and this and this, and this is what I see myself doing in future. Again, in terms of how for academics, of course you will submit your transcript and so on, so there's nothing much you can say about that. But for the character and for leadership, you'll have two essays, and then there are a couple of essays. So I didn't attach that to the presentation here, but they are very similar to the Chevening questions. So I'll just read the questions that the last cohort was asked to write about. They're very short essays, 50 to 250 words. So the first question is, about how you fit for this scholarship and why you should be the person selected. So the question read, we want to know about what makes you the person you are. Reflecting on your life so far, tell us your story and how this fits in the selection criteria of this scholarship. So like many other applications, you need to first go through the website of the provider and really understand what they are looking for, and ask yourself, how do I fit into the criteria? Do I have the things they're looking for, and so on? And then now use the example of your engagements, what you've studied, to show how to actually fit into that. The second question was on transformative leadership, and it read, we want to learn about your potential to be a transformative leader. Please tell us or project you're working on, which clearly your skills in this area. Again, the question asks you directly, to pick one idea and that you're working on, and to talk about it in depth. Why did you start working on the idea? How do you work on it? What challenges have you faced along the way? What have you done? What impacts you made? So trying to answer those questions. Another question was, trying to show you've overcome obstacles and that you are a resilient person. So the question reads, we aim to award MasterCard scholarships to individuals who will ensure they benefit the most from the opportunity. Tell us about a challenging situation you have faced, and most important, how you sought to overcome it for better. So, about a lot of these questions, you need to reflect a lot. Reflect about your journey. Reflect about how you've overcome challenges, what you've learned along the way. I have two more questions. The other one is about your future plan, how the University of Edinburgh benefits in that sense. So we want to ensure your time at the university benefits our future. Ask about the choice of degree, how the choice of your degree program will assist you to make the change you envisage. So again, here I would say, so it's about justifying why the degree you've chosen will enable you to achieve the goals that you have in life for yourself and for your community. So it's advisable to choose a degree that probably you have previous initiatives with it that you can talk about and saying, I'll be able to build on this. Next is about connections and networks, and I think Stella and the Commonwealth presenters talked about that a lot. The question is, having helpful friends, allies is an important part of bringing about positive change. If you are a MasterCard scholar at Edinburgh, what sorts of relationships and networks will you seek to develop? And how will they help you when you've returned home? So, this is looking at not just you gaining a degree, but also developing meaningful connections. And I think Stella, Nyandire, they talked in depth about that. Just a last question is, is about your financial needs, any challenges you've overcome, how you've overcome that, and so on. I'll talk a bit about that in a later slide. Sorry that I couldn't include those in the slide. I will also share them with Nashon so that he can send them to you. So yeah, the questions are very similar for most scholarships, and that's why, as Martin was saying, once you get started on one, just also apply the others because they are very similar. You can reproduce the work, just adjust it a bit to the requirements of the other scholarship. Probably advisable to have your first choice and put in more time to that one. But also, recruiters are able to tell when you've just copy pasted from else. So just when you are tailoring applications and so on, take some time to do that. Next. Next slide. Thanks. I think we covered
this.
We covered this one.
Yeah,
we covered this. I think Stella covered this, and I think she's a better instructor than I am. So she was very, very eloquent on it. But when you're giving an example of what you've done or something you've been engaged in, don't just mention it. There are a couple of ways of to explain an example or to use an anecdote, but this is just one of them. Talk about the context. What was the problem or what was the situation? What was the issue that you are trying to solve? What action did you take to solve that issue? What was the results? And MasterCard is very, big on reflecting on impact. So doing that, learn something from it, and how that can help you going forward. So when you're talking about examples, take time to give the context, problem, action, results, and reflection. Yeah. Next. Yeah, again, just from recruiters. The first one, I've seen a couple of essays to the US universities and so on, which are very a bit dramatic in terms of telling the story, going round and round, and just using many words or trying to. So what I'll say is, different people have different styles of writing, and that is fine. But from this quote from the recruiter, the words are limited in most of these essays. So it's very important that you tell what you want in a focused and concise way. not necessarily in the way you would write a novel or something where you have to describe, so be concise and focused. Another one, different speakers have talked about this. There are so many ways to lead, you don't have to talk about, I was elected to a position. As Martin was saying, when he was serving in a position, in that whole year, in the whole university, that position could only be filled by one person. But that doesn't mean there are no other people who are leading clubs or starting initiatives around the school and the community and so on. And what I normally say is sometimes it's not really about what you did, but how you talk about it. And we tend to value what we did or our contributions and so on, but really reflect about and I think another thing, as I don't know if it's a thing for me or it's a thing for most Kenyans, we are raised to be humble and to talk less about ourselves, but this is not the, like, if you did something, like, it's not bragging, it's just talking about it. Talk about it in a passionate way, talk about it with confidence, and don't feel like you're bragging, just you did it. So yeah, next. Again, more tips. This is a long quote, but talk about your contributions, and talk about your contributions to what happened. I think Stella covered this. Don't say we. Talk about you. What was your contribution, and like, make it sound like it was transformational. Let the person reading that be like, oh wow, without this person, this change won't have happened. So don't lie. I'm not saying that you lie, but learn to talk about your involvement in an impactful way. And yeah, again, a reiteration of, there are many ways to lead, doesn't have to be an elected position. Next. I think this is the one that most people didn't cover, because the other scholarships are merit-based. They don't look at financials. When I was reading the essay, there's an essay on finances, the barriers you've overcome financially. So there's a tendency of people to sound like they are begging, and I think that is not what this is all about. It's about, yes, talking about the challenges, but talking about them in a dignified way, and trying to talk about how you found solutions for those problems, how you are proactive. I remember when I was applying for my undergraduate scholarship, for example, talking about we didn't have electricity and we had to make these kerosene lamps ourselves and so on. I mean, it doesn't have to go that low, but even things like, I know in undergraduate some students work part-time, some students volunteer in the library so that they can be able to borrow books, and so on, if your university doesn't have free books. About scholarships and so on. So just talk about it in a positive and a dignified way. And last slide. some common mistakes. You know, I was talking to someone this morning, and they were saying there was this talk a recruiter was saying, you know, once we find a typo or a grammatical error in your application, like we just throw it away. Maybe not all recruiters are that, you know, that it's not malicious as well, because, for example, MasterCard picked 20 MSc students to start this year, and there were around 4,000 applications. So you can understand that, you know, a team of four recruiters going through all those applications, it's a lot. And so don't give them a reason to doubt you or to disqualify you before they dig deep into your application. So take time to write applications. Get a friend to proofread what you've written, just to make sure you are able to present what you're saying in the most concise way possible. Another mistake, you know, how MasterCard works is once you apply to the scholarship will apply on your behalf to the program that you're applying for. So once you applied for the scholarship, you don't need to do any other applications. And the essay that you write about your degree, it's likely to be looked at by the relevant department. So when you're talking about the choice of your degree, you know, make sure you talk concisely about that, how you are qualified. Take time to read about it on the website and what it entails. What do you like about it? If possible, connect with someone who is taking that degree at Edinburgh, so that they can tell you inner details about it. So write that, having in mind that it could be your personal statement for that, for the admission to the department. And the last one is, yeah, just don't. I mean, it's a scholarship for support, but don't sound too desperate. You know, yes, present your case, talk about your experiences, but don't sound like you're begging or like that this is the only option that you have. You know, so yeah, in summary, you know, be passionate, be authentic, and be dignified in writing your application. So I have a couple of other things, but I'll add as we go on. Yeah, thank you. That's my presentation.
Thank you very much. I think because of time, we are going to take a number of questions, a few of them. So feel free to unmute and ask, but I'll start with what we have at the moment. Okay. So Jason is asking, in all this scholarship, must there be an offer letter from the uni you want to join before you apply for the scholarship, or does the offer of the scholarship translate to an offer in the program you want to join? I think it depends. For example, MasterCard, Daniel has said you just need to do the first part. But for Chevening, let me talk on behalf of Chevening. You have to apply it independently. You have to apply to Chevening, and of course, clearly outline which courses you want to do. And you need to give them 3 different courses. Criteria is you can give them 3 different courses from one university, or you select the same course in 3 different universities. So from that criteria, if you go to the website, we're going to share the link, you will see. So you apply to Chevening, then you go and convince the university to give you an offer letter. So it all depends. What I will encourage you to do is go to each website, get to know what are the requirements, and then you can proceed. So it all depends. And then Stacey Awinja is saying, I don't know if this had been addressed earlier, but what cost do the 3 scholarship covers? All these scholarships, the ones that we've talked about today, is end-to-end. They cover your monthly stipend, of course, your tuition fee. They cover your transport to the UK and back to Kenya. So it's more like a full scholarship. It covers everything.
Nashon, on that question on do you have to have an offer before you apply? So for the Rhodes scholarship, you don't. You apply first for the scholarship. The course you choose while applying for the scholarship is just to show your interest and to also enable them understand what you want to go and do. But after you get the scholarship, that is when you now start applying to come to Oxford. So the Rhodes Trust will pay the application fee, and from there it will be like they'll pay for everything that you'll be doing in relation to your application to Oxford, your coming to Oxford, your visa application, and everything. So it's quite different. Here you get the scholarship first, which is totally free to apply. You don't need to pay anything. Then after that, you now start your application to Oxford. Then the Rhodes Trust will be catering for the whole of that process.
Yeah, exactly. So it all depends. It's very important you get to check each scholarship and get to understand what is required. So this one, maybe Daniel can answer this question from Rabi Atieno. He's saying, my question is directed towards other scholarship application, for example, SECLO, or any other scholarship that are not specific to African development. So how to find a peer reviewer for the scholarship? Daniel, you want to cover that?
Yeah, I mean, MasterCard is very much geared to giving back. But what I will say in terms of, there's normally a lot of information on the scholarship website, and most of the scholarships, they have an application page, previously asked questions, the procedure, and so on. And so the first thing to do is to go there and to look at what they are looking for, and think about how you can present yourself as an ideal candidate to them. In terms of finding peer reviewers or people to have a look at it, it again goes to the aspect of networking. Now we have LinkedIn and so on. Try to see if you can find someone who is either on that program or someone who was previously on that program, so that they can give you some tips, or they can share the experience with you. So I don't think there's a shortage of people to help out. And I remember when I was applying to Rhodes, I reached out to so many people, and surprisingly, all of them, they were very keen to help. They were keen to organize calls with me. They were keen to prep me for interviews and so on. I think I had, over 10 prep calls with people, and they were very helpful. So yeah, have a look at the website, but also remember that, showing that you are a leader and that you are a change maker alongside your academics, whether the scholarship is looking for that or not, that is always a plus.
Thank you, Daniel.
Thanks.
So definitely there are so many people who will be very much willing to help. And it's also good to know that most of scholarship beneficiaries, they have a belief that they say pay it forward. You always try as much as possible to pay forward what you receive from other scholars. So definitely there are so many people will be willing to help. So there's another question that says, is there a platform that can showcase this scholarship? I will say the same thing Daniel has said. We have specific platform. For example, the year 2020, 2021, you'll find they have their own specific platform. And also on social media, if you go and check Rhodes Scholarship on Facebook, you will find there's a group for Rhodes Scholarship. If you check for Chevening, definitely you will find. So there are all these platforms. It doesn't have to be just on WhatsApp or a given platform, but yes, definitely they are there. Like for example, Chevening. If you go on Facebook and just search Chevening Scholarship, you'll find there's one international platform where it has everyone who benefited from this scholarship. Nyandire, maybe Nyandire can handle this. Provide steps and guides on how to learn scholarship. I think basically we've answered that. Unless there's something you need to clarify, Mwangi. And then Jeroge is saying how to write motivational letters and essay for checking on Commonwealth scholarship. Again, the STAR approach, the one that we've just discussed, the SMART approach, that is basically what you need to do. And of course, I will definitely encourage you to have a mentor. I know we have scholars who did the writing without any mentorship, so they just believe their work. But I'll definitely encourage you to have someone who has gone through that scholarship to be able to look at your writing and be able to advise. Onyango, the link with any scholarship opportunities. I'm going to share all the links, and also I think I have your email, so I will also forward the presentation to you. And then Waweru, any good agency that can link one with the best scholarship. I think any good agency, I think it's a matter of interest, getting to know where you want to apply. We have scholarships that are specific to a university like Rhodes. There are scholarships that are meant for US, for UK. So I won't say I personally didn't work with any agency. It's a matter of just going to search, finding the right people and all that. So if you have a question, please just unmute and ask before we can end up, we can close the meeting. I think I've seen a pop-up somewhere.
Oh, thank you. This is Ezabo from Uganda. I'm so excited to hear from great people, Martin and Daniel and all that. I really want to appreciate. I remember having my first scholarship. It was a travel grant of $5,000, which we won with Martin in 2018. He was the winner for Kenya, and I was the winner for Uganda. And that very year, he also won the scholarship to Oxford. So it's a very great inspiration, and we have seen ourselves progressing a lot, and we are still working together. For those who are looking for where to get scholarship information, you know, there are a lot of bad information online and good one, and there are those which are competed, but US is one of the countries with the largest scholarships in the world. What I can say is that most of American universities and colleges, in their website, they don't go open to share like in a portal that we are offering scholarship, but in there, when you visit the university website, for any university in the US, you look for a section for financial aid, tuition and financial aid. They have a lot of technicality on how to approach it, because most of them, they need federal grants, which are for students who are local there. But for masters, they tend to give masters and PhD, they favor students across the world because they need the researchers. They need great researchers. So when you want a scholarship in US, just identify a university. Then of course, when you apply, when they give you admission, then you are able to see more information about scholarship, but always that information is there in all their website, whether Harvard, Stanford, you will always find that information under section for scholarships and the financial aid. Then they also have different models. If you don't qualify for merit scholarships, there's needs-based scholarships. There is on-campus jobs. Like once you're given the scholarship, you are able to work part-time or on campus, and they probably cover your tuition, and some cover your residences US tends to focus on students who also give back to their community right there. So if you can do any job on campus, like whether cleaning, whether serving, whether being an assistant lecturer, being a researcher, all that. But first, you have to get the admission. They also have other models like state-based. For example, some universities, they offer very low tuition fee if you are staying in a state. When I'm saying in state, like you're already in the US, then you want to go to University of New York, then you must have been staying in New York. When you are residing in New York and you have a document showing you are legal resident of New York, you qualify for very low school fees. So you tour many of those universities in America, you really get scholarships everywhere, but read their terms, how they offer them. But it's usually a common way. Like, for example, merit scholarship, needs-based, federal grants, and then, but of course, if you're going for undergrad, they have a lot of undergrad scholarships, but the best undergraduate scholarship option will be first going to America. Once you go to America and then you stay in a state, then you're able to qualify for a very low school fees in that state university. So look for those universities which can give low tuition fee. Let me say if you have a tuition fee of $200 you're paying per credit hour, I think if you have a job, like you have a job paying you there, you have a job there paying you like $3,000 a month, you are able to actually pay that school fees because it's according to their rate, it will be very low. But in African rate, it will be high. But if you are on ground there, it will be very low. So that's the few experience I can share with you. Explore American universities, but the best option for those who are in undergrad, also American universities require, besides those qualifications, you need to have entry exams. For example, if you are going for master's degree, you need to have what they call GRE, graduate record exams. These are, you do them online. These are all, even American students have to do it. Most universities, top universities in America, will require you to have the GRE test. Without GRE test, you will not actually qualify, because with GRE test, you'll be able to write good essays, and they'll test your mathematics skills, they'll test your English skills and all that. And then for those who are going for undergraduate programs, you will need to do SAT, Scholastic Aptitude Test. These things, you need to do them before you leave for America, or before you apply for any American university, because these are same exams American students are doing, so you have to compete with them. Without graduates, if you're going for masters, have a GRE, graduate record exam. You just go to Google, you type GRE, then you're able to see what GRE is, graduate record exams. Then for undergraduates, do SAT, Scholastic Aptitude Test. It tests your mathematics skills, English skills, essays, and then you can do, of course, you can, if you want to prove you are good, because you want to be the best, you want to be seen that you're intelligent, you can select also subjects, because if you are going for undergrad, you can do SAT subjects. For example, if you are going to study electrical engineering, you can select advanced mathematics and physics, or you can even add chemistry, but they are very cheap. The GRE is roughly $250. That is the general exam, but if you're doing subjects, then subjects, they just charge little. Now, what you do when you go to their website, you can buy online reading books from Amazon, or you can download them. Then when you are scheduling your exams from their website, they'll show you exam centers in Kenya where you can sit. Even you can come to Uganda, but Kenya has those. For undergraduates, they will choose those international schools, high schools which are international, because those same high schools which are Aga Khan High School, those are all in international school. They're doing those SATs, so it will increase your chances of going through. Myself, and also about the projects, it's for US. It is very important for you to do something. Martin has already said, and the Nelsons, the Nations, they have already said this a lot. US needs to see who you are. What are you capable of doing? I remember when I applied for that IEEE scholarship with Martin, I was doing already robotics. I was participating in the robotic competition. I gave all that biodata and we were selected. I was the only one in Uganda. Martin was the only one in Kenya. So like for me currently, I'm expecting to travel to US to study in Florida next year. So currently I'm working on a project for AI, which I'm building. My website will be out, but it will help me a lot when I go in there. I will go in there, but I'm already building CV. So you begin to build your CV, do those entry tests, GRE.
Yeah, Balonze, I
and
will have to
SCT.
cut you short because of time, but definitely we
Okay.
will want to have a platform where we can even discuss it further, right? But thank you very much. Those are very great insights on application because we're not only talking about UK, you can always apply anywhere you want. So because of time, I will just invite one more person just to say a word, the section chair, just to say a word, and then we can close.
Nashon, I think there was a question on tests, like English tests.
There was a question.
Yeah, from Lydia.
Oh yeah. Maybe Daniel, you can answer that. With regards to the
Yeah.
test.
So yes, UK universities, they most of them, they have, if you did your undergraduate in Kenya, for example, they will require you to either sit. There are a couple of options. There are IELTs,
TOEFL, yeah.
TOEFL. So yeah, there are a couple of standard tests, and every university, as part of the requirement, normally states, what is the minimum achievement. But I'm sure if you went to a Kenyan university, which is the language of instruction is English, you'll be able to do okay. But yeah, make sure you prepare for MasterCard Foundation specifically. If you get the scholarship, they have an arrangement with the university where they are going. The university's Department of English is just going to do the to provide the test for you. It's very straightforward. But I know for Rhodes scholarship and so on, you might need to sit for the test. Yeah.
Most
so
require you to do the test, right?
Yeah, just look at the degree that you're applying for. Look at the requirements. I'm sure they will mention what they want you to do.
Yeah.
And then in the cases where you need to get the scholarship fast, like just talk to the scholarship and hear about how they go about that before you pay for yourself. Thanks. Yeah.
All right, thank you. Okay, the section chair, one final word.
Yes, it's been great hearing all the great advice that everybody has given. So I'd really like to thank all the presenters who've taken time on this Saturday to share their knowledge and share their experiences. So thank you very much. And again, thank you for the YP officials for organizing this event. I think it's a very important and a very great event. I think as speakers, Kenyans, we tend to shy away from these applications, as various speakers have said. But there's opportunity for us. I think we've got the aptitude, we've got the thirst for knowledge, and we've got the experiences to share with the rest of the world. So what maybe I will ask the YP officials is perhaps organize a separate session or another session like this, so that those who missed or those who may want to now ask more information or ask for more questions can actually get involved. Then to the participants, if you're a member of IEEE, there's lots and lots of activities you can undertake to enable or to boost your applications, not just for this, even some of the paid up universities, you really need to show why you need to be given a slot as much as you're paying. So for example, we've got an initiative with the Kakuma refugee camp, where we're putting in a Fab Lab in conjunction with the CAS Society, who's sponsoring it. And we've got a couple of universities in Switzerland who are going to participate by helping and by participating with the students in Kakuma. We have sent out a notification asking for anyone who may be willing to participate in one way or the other as a mentor or working with the students or giving the experience, if you have any Fab Lab experience, even if you don't, any experience that you can help these refugees pick up their lives and move to the next step. These are the small little things that can help you in your applications. And even more important, at least give yourself something fulfilling in your life, having done and delivered something that helped somebody else. So I do not want to talk too much today. Just once again, thank everybody who has participated and everybody who has taken their time to give a talk, and looking forward to hearing from you again one of these days. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Vincent. It's been a very long session, I know. Just to appreciate all the speakers. It was, as you said, this was organized on a very low level. Just giving Martin a call and say, Martin, do you want to talk about this? So I really want to appreciate all the speakers who took their time to have this discussion. And for the guys, anyone who is willing or who wants to apply, please, I would say go ahead and do that. And never cancel yourself, never set yourself aside if there's something that everyone is going for it. So try. It doesn't hurt to try. The worst you can get is just a no. And of course, there's an experience that you'll gain. So thank you very much. And let's connect in different platforms. Bye-bye.
Bye.